Testing, testing. Am I live? Am I live? I know my model's not live yet, but... Oops. Whoa, testing, testing. Am I live? Am I live? Let me know if I am live, because nothing seems to be working right now. It's my... No, okay, it does seem to me that I'm live. What the heck? What the heck is happening? For whatever reason, I can't connect it to my model, though. I appear to be live on camera, but I can't tell. I can't tell right now. In terms of the... Yeah, live audio. Oh, model frozen. Okay, yeah. Okay, let me try to figure out the model. I wanted to actually make sure I started because, like, I had already like pinged everyone and everything, and now like I can't seem to get the model up and running. I don't know why. Shoot. Do I have to like restart ReTube Studio? I sort of like rushed through everything, so I'm wondering if like that's what caused it, because I just sort of like buoyed everything up at the same time and then like flipped all the toggles when I should be doing everything one by one. So let's see if that helps at all. Sorry about this. I wanted to get into the content right away, especially because I'm late, but I doesn't seem to be wanting to do that right now. So there I am there. Oh shit. Then there's that. Let me just make sure of something. Yeah. Okay, so connect and connect. Nope, that doesn't seem to be working. Okay. What is going on here? Why isn't it connecting? In any case, how you doing? Filter T, how you doing, Chibity? This was gonna be a more casual stream anyways, but even with that in mind, I would very much like for this to actually be working. Oh, did I have the audio on, by the way? Yeah, okay, I did have the BGM. I can't personally hear it for some reason. I can't personally hear the BGM, but I hope it's going. How are you guys doing? I ended up having a big dinner. And then, like, I woke up hella late because I slept hella late. I ended up having a pretty big dinner, and then so, like, that's part of why I was late, and then I had to have coffee because I was having the caffeine headache, and then when I finally got here, the model is not working. I'm not sure why. Oh man, do I get into it? Nah, I guess it's the updates. You might have noticed that I've started retweeting hella stuff about Sleepy Project. I am just genuinely so proud of her. I'm genuine. Like I talked about this with Horori. I'm super proud of Sleepy Project too. it's awesome to see like all these VTubers that I followed when they were like small to mid-sized indies like really starting to pop off. Horori is like went from like I would say like medium small to a mid-size now, and then like I don't know the metrics. Maybe that's hard to say, but it's Horori really popped off on her own. She now like averages 100 viewers. Like Sleepy Project, I haven't seen how many viewers she's gained now. I remember when I first watched her, she was averaging like roughly 100 viewers, and that was like 2 years ago. So she's clearly been like pretty steady, pretty consistently growing probably. And then of course she's in Face Connect now, and that's so fucking awesome. Like honestly, she's one of the best vibes of a VTuber I've ever had. She's one of my like it's retrospective really, because I didn't really get to watch her much. I did like watching her streams quite a lot those past few days. I really wanted to make a cocktail for her way back then 2 years ago, and then like I just stopped being able to because she streams midday, and then so she streams midday, and then so she has to ah where am I? So she streams midday, and like I'm graveyard shift now. I'm asleep whenever she would be regularly on, so I just can't be a regular anymore. And then of course like that's still true now, and it's just like it feels a little bad, but it feels a little bad, but it's great to see her because she again like her vibes, the way the way she conducts her streams, the way she does as her streams is like so chill, so nice. Oh, I think I did connect. Yeah. Okay, I'm not connected to V Bridger for some reason. Okay, what if I I don't seem to be connected to V Bridger for some reason, but that's fine. That's fine. We can deal with no V Bridger for today. Yeah, where was I? Just yeah, seeing her pop off, seeing her brand new model, like seeing her brand new model actually like makes me weirdly protective of her, in a sense, because it's like like there someone put out a tweet, and I remember this user. They she had always been quite cute, just in general, just like super cute. The the new model comes out, and obviously like everyone's focused on like two particularly big things about it, but it's awesome it's awesome to see that. But then everyone an old fan was like, oh, she's always been cute, you guys were just slow to catch up. And it's just like being able to see that's is awesome. But it's also like I hope people aren't getting the wrong idea. I hope people aren't gonna get in for shallow reasons, because like for one, like okay, she shares a model mama with the Mint Fantome. I hope they don't just compare those two, because like first of all, like comparing with same model is kind of silly to begin with, but then like they do have pretty different vibes in my opinion. And so like I hope like people don't get those vibes simply from the model. And then second of all, like I hope you're not just attracted to the model, because it's like she's very much, as I recall, she's very much not like that. Like obviously like the model being very pretty is very important, but it's also like you know, it's paired with the personality. I hope you aren't just simping for the for the big booba model. But It's either way, either way. I'm excited for it regardless because Ayami has always been one of my favorite artists, even way, way before like I knew she made VTuber models. Like I followed her works. She did blue. She does a lot. It's funny. She does a lot of Blue Archive fan works. She's technically in Blue Archive, but the one character she's drawn for Blue Archive is like one of the least popular characters because it's so modest compared to the other characters. But she does as Blue Archive fan art and like just lets her freak flag fly. She genuinely draws like nude pictures and then like goes to Kamika and puts out like dojins and stuff. And then it wasn't until a while that I realized, oh, she drew Yozora Mel. I recognized it when she drew Mint Fantome. And of course I recognized it when she drew Sleepy Project, and she did such an amazing job with Sleepy Project. It's awesome. It's so awesome to see. And just honestly, I'm thrilled by it. I'm so glad that she's really popping off now, and like off the coattails of that, like I finally made a drink for her. I had been planning I wanted to make a cocktail for like years ago, but I just couldn't find a way to do it, not least of which because she told me like straight up, but she had a much smaller chat, so there could be more personal conversations within the chat. I remember asking her, it's like, oh, what's your favorite drink, wherever, and like she did respond directly, like, vodka, but I don't really drink. And it's like, okay, a vodka cocktail, and you know, I don't really like vodka. So I was like, how do I make that like particularly fancy for her to actually make this a good drink? And I just couldn't really figure out a way to do it. But then she joined FaZe. What is the lore of FaZe? They're all agents. She's an agent. She's like a badass. Like her whole thing was that she's like a badass soldier thing, because that's what she's been doing. Is like she plays a lot of Tarkov. She plays a lot of realism shooters, all this kind of stuff. I had the mind to go James Bond. A martini. A martini would be perfect for an agent like her. And then so I made, it's the James Bond ratio, but not the same build. So like James Bond prefers a London Dry, 3 parts London Dry, 1 part vodka, 1 part half part vermouth, some kind of sweet vermouth. And so like it's not all the same ingredients, but it's the same ratios of the build. So with that in mind, it would be 3 ounces of Empress, 1 ounce of vodka, in my case Tito's. James Bond would probably use Gordon. No, James Bond wants Gordon's London Dry. I used Empress gin. I used Tito's. James Bond would probably get Stolichnaya. And then I forgot Lillet Blanc. Lillet Blanc, I think, is the vermouth in James Bond's martini. I use Dolan Blanc because that's all I have. And I don't really like vermouth. I like it in martinis. I don't generally like vermouth otherwise. Of course, mine is stirred because you're supposed to stir a martini. James Bond wants it shaken because James Bond does what he wants. Let me actually catch up with chat. I wonder if it's actually the star's preference. It's the writer's preference, actually. I need to look this up myself, but I know my favorite mixology YouTuber talked about this. The reason why James Bond's martini is like a slightly weird martini is because as the writer himself prefers that way. He prefers shaken martinis. He prefers it in that ratio I mentioned. And that's a double pour, by the way, because usually you only need You only need 2 ounces of your base spirit. He uses 4. He has a particularly strong one where it's like 3 ounce London Dry, 1 ounce vodka, half ounce of Lillet Blanc, okay, and then shaken, not stirred. The famous line, and then that's the way the writer for James Bond likes it, and so therefore James Bond likes it that way. But then I made it the traditional way, but using that same ratio, and so that's why I made Sleepy's the way that was. That's actually a good use of vodka, by the way. So like I always talk about how like vodka is just like spicy water, like it's flavorless. It doesn't really add to the flavor profile. If you're adding a ton of a certain ingredient, well, if you're adding a certain ingredient and you don't just want to add a ton of it, but you want the same level of firepower, then diluting it with vodka is actually a good idea. 4 ounces of Empress Gin is excessive. 3 ounces is pretty excessive. But if it was 3 ounces plus so 1 ounce of vodka, that's actually better balanced. It wouldn't be so gin forward. You would actually get some de Lillet Blanc at that rate. Let me back up now that I have everything working. My bad. Live audio, model frozen. Okay. Wait, the audio's okay, right? Please let me know. Like the music and everything, not just my voice. I didn't get enough sleep. I couldn't fall back to sleep, so now I'm having something to do. I've been there. That was actually me last night. Well, to this morning because fuck, it was noon. I should be asleep at like 9 a.m. And then like I just couldn't really sleep, but then like I knew I needed to sleep, and so I was just kind of just like floating in bed in a haze. Doing well, but a bit sad because I ended up accidentally seeing some Nikkei main story stuff I haven't gotten yet on Twitter, so accidental Nikkei spoilers. I'm there too. Part of it is just because, one, I'm kind of lazy to progress. 2, I genuinely don't have time to progress. And 3, like, I'm sort of used to getting spoiled, given that I play Blue Archive, and JP Blue Archive is six months ahead of us, and so we get spoiled well ahead of time. Lots of people sure streaming tonight when I have to be up and ready at 6:48. Don't worry about me if you can't entertain around Poke. I appreciate you for always being here, but it's like prioritize your own life, man. Isn't she Shimiko's artist, or am I misremembering? That's exactly it. Ayami has drawn Shimiko, and Shimiko is like, first of all, very modest dressed. Second, like extremely unpopular because 1, she has no screen time, and 2, she's she might be she's not the worst unit in the game, but she is one of the most useless units in the game. They really need to remake it, not least of which is because you have fucking Ayami. Let her cook. She can make something great. Fucking Ayami redrew Shimiko. She made a Shimiko swimsuit for Blue Archive just for fun, like as a fan art, and it was so good. It was popping off on Twitter. Like everyone likes it. Everyone wants to see this in the game, but it's not official yet. They need to make a 3-star Shimiko, both because her kit is fucking garbage. She's just not a useful student at all. And second, it's Ayami. She will make one of the best designs in the game if you let her. But you haven't let her yet. Let her fly. She will bring new players into the game the way like Karin and Asuna did if you just drew, especially now, like with Sleepy Project blew up, Mint Fans from me blew up. Like you have Ayami sisters already out in the VTuber space. Like using Ayami as promotional material would just make sense. Wonder if it's, yeah, I answered that. Yeah, audio's good. Good. My sleep schedule is already fucked. I mean, don't fuck it up further for me. Unless you, I did have this one sleep schedule where it'd be like, I would stay up. My original graveyard schedule would be like I would sleep right after work, like sometime at like 3 to 5 a.m. and then wake up sometime midday, which is when I used to watch sleepy streams. um, Wake up sometime midday, play some video games, watch sleepy, work on some other stuff, and then and work comes along at around like 7 p.m. Work my whole shift until 3 a.m. Sleep right away, and then like repeat the process. But then like, yeah, I realized that there's I could go back to that. If I do that, I could start watching Sleepy again. I genuinely might do that. Yeah, if you saw my alt account, I genuinely like sorry guys, I'm retweeting like all. I'm sorry if you follow me just for gacha rambling and cosplay, because I'm becoming a sleepy simp. But yeah, like honestly I could do that. It would, the main thing is that like the reason I got off that schedule is because what happened was I found out a way to go to the gym. If I go to the gym like in the dead of night at 3 a.m., it is fucking empty. You do not have to wait for shit. That's one of the difficult parts for people who want to like try to work out and go to the gym. If you go during peak hours, it's really hard. That's probably the main demotivator for me is like you go, there's no fucking parking, so you can't get into you can't find a spot to even park to actually start your workouts. And then when you actually try to start your workout, okay, now you have to wait for a treadmill. You have to wait for the leg press machine. You have to wait for this machine or that machine. You have to pick lighter weights because all the 15 dumbbells are taken, or the 5s or whatever you use. Like it's really inconvenient going to the gym at peak hours. Meanwhile, if you go at well, I guess non-peak hours, at in dead hours, or you just have free reign. It's so easy. It got screwed because I was locked in something. Yeah, that happens sometimes. I think unintentionally. That's part of why I ended up sleeping so late. It's today was because honestly it was a bunch of sleepy stuff. Where's the blood? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, let me just meme myself a little bit with the blush toggle, because I am straight up simping lately. I'm going crazy. My sleep schedule has somehow gotten even worse, because instead of getting ready for bed at 4 a.m., I'm basically getting ready for 5. Yeah, it's tough, man. I keep needing to like update how I do my own sleep schedule, just because it's like things keep happening that force me to like stay up later, because of the fact that because I'm graveyard, like my evening is like 3 a.m. to 9 a.m. And then so it's like things aren't open until then. I should be asleep by like 10:30. I think I sleep these days around 10:30, 11:30. So I should be getting to bed at like 9:30 to 10. But like a lot of things I need to do aren't open until 10. Aren't open until like they aren't open until 10 a.m. They're not open until 9 a.m. And then so like instead of like get soon getting to bed, I'm like needing to stay up. And then for normal people, sure, that's normal for them. Imagine for those normal people, imagine if you couldn't do an important thing like drop off a phone uh, until or until 10 p.m. Like you're staying up to do something requiring going out. Like that's that's difficult. Oh man, how much time have we wasted and not actually gotten into the content? 25 minutes. Nice, nice. I'm pretty sure I lost every possible viewer that actually cared about my the necessary evil thing I wanted to talk about. um yeah, okay. Necessary evil. So my favorite character, not my favorite character. One of my favorite characters in Nikkei is a character named Ether. She is a scientist for MMR, and she's a scientist for MMR, and she is the embodiment of the concept of necessary evil. She is one of the most fascinating characters because of the fact that because of the fact that she's often portrayed as a villain, and yet she's often portrayed as a villain, and yet she's always helping the hero. She is always helping, say, the commander, help them out of the jam that she helped to create. She is the one who helps Marciana save her students. She once again helps the commander when Electric Shock are branded as traitors. She is like she lives in a very unique space. Lots of necessary evil characters often are like Mana in one of her coworkers in game. She's like the usual sympathetic necessary evil character where it's like, these dark experiments, is this really necessary? Do we have to do this? I don't know if this is so morally questionable. And then you have the other side of it where like they're very clearly out of their minds, where it's like, I think of the Ace Combat villain. I've actually not played this DLC. I really want to, especially because Ace Combat 7 is one of my favorite games of all time. But anyways, there's an Ace Combat 7 villain who's like, we need to kill millions of people to save billions. Like, I don't know what the context of it is, but it's like quoted so many times that like I'm guessing that's what it is. Basically, he's been trapped in like a nuclear sub for so long that he's gone crazy. And then like there's this big war going on. Everyone's dying. War is horrible. That's sort of like the theme of Ace Combat. Like they always take place during these wars where like clashing ideals, but like no one's really a bad guy, and then so all this crazy stuff. And this villain, the more comically evil, like clearly out of their mind version of necessary evil is like, he wants to end the war by like dropping nukes on people, and that would kill literally millions of people. But he believes it would kill it by killing millions of people. He saves billions of people, which is flawed logic, and that's why you have to stop him, because that's fucking crazy. Ether exists in the middle. Ether takes a weird sort of joy out of her work. Ether knows what she is doing is morally objectionable. Ether believes the ends justify the means. Ether lives in this space where she's doing her job because she knows it is the best thing they can do, and she doesn't mind that it's not moral, because ultimately her goals are justified. When you first meet in her Bond story and notes, you should unlock it right away. She is an SR. She is not She is the equivalent of an uncommon. So there's like the normal rares which have no honestly value at all. You have the SRs, which are can be important main characters, like all of counters are SRs, but they're not generally useful in game meta wise. And then the SSRs, those are the banner units. Those are all the characters you want. Like, she is an SR, but she's one of the most interesting characters, and that's why I think she deserves an SSR. She deserves her own story because she's such an interesting character, and she deserves more lore development. She deserves the spotlight for once because of how crazy everything is. Potato. Is Potato your necessary evil, hacker troller? I don't want to touch Ether with a 10-foot pole just like Crow. I think Ether is like a good version of what Crow is trying to be. Like Crow is like in this space. The one I mentioned with like the evil guy who's like, we need to kill millions of people to save billions. Like Crow is just like so idealistic and so just frankly badly written that like it's why like no one really likes her. Is just because it's like everything she says sounds too idealistic, and so nothing about her evil is necessary. She's just trying to spin it into a necessary evil, which just makes her really bad. Like frankly, just like bad, not just bad in like the moral alignment sense, just bad in terms of like just badly written, badly characterized, etc. Ether is actually a more interesting character because she occupies the space and there are actual justifiable reasons. In her Bond story, you catch a rare disease from the surface. So you return from the surface and you're like breaking down. Your body's breaking down. You're like terribly sick. Encounters, there's Anis, Neon, and Rappy, like, oh my god, we need to get you to the hospital. We need to get you to MMR or something. So they take you, and then you wake up in the MMR facility where Ether tells you that you have a rare disease, is currently uncurable. You will die without treatment. And you're like panicking, like, oh shit, what's going on? Dude, relax. We're working on a treatment. Here, take this. Let me know how you feel. And then you do it. And you should know to like they make a few references to this. Actually, I should bring her up. Give me a sec. They bring her up in a weird sort of context because of the fact that she's frankly like kind of sexy. like most Nikkei characters, she's like pretty sexualized. She's like a sexy scientist woman with like big boobs and torn stockings, and like they play into that. Like she like bends over and her stocking rips, and it's like, damn it, my stocking ripped. Ether Nikkei PNG. Oh geez, my stocking ripped, and like she apparently had to skip a shower and all that, and then so like they're clearly like sort of baiting the fact that she's a little bit uncouth, a little sloppy. But the main point that's leading to is the fact that it's like she's always hard at work. Well, I'll get to that, but she's constantly working. She almost never gets to take a break from her work. Let me just... Oh, shit. Okay. Let's see if that comes up. Here we go. There we go. There's Ether. This is the character we are talking about. Oops. Okay. Shoot. Keep clicking the wrong one. There we go. Oh yeah, it's Nikki, you know. Now that I think of it, she's very similar to Abe in that regard. Girl never wants to rest. I guess Ether is the stinky, neat archetype, but eviler. Kind of, yeah, because she's depicted as kind of like at first, or you think she's just nerdy and gross. It's like, oh, I had to skip a shower because I had to help work on your drug. Is there time to fix my stockings? Nah, there's no time. I'm lazy to do that. I can't take a break. And then so you're just sitting there like bedridden, and you're just feeling terrible because of this illness, but you are getting slightly better as she keeps giving you experimental medicine. Excuse me. Hold on. Nose blowing. Okay. So you're slowly getting better. Like you no longer feel fucking horrible. Like you're starting to get better. You can even sit up from the hospital bed. It's getting better. It felt like you were about to die, but you are getting quickly better. You get a note that's like case 01, furthest to the right, end of the hallway. Hell. Hel. Help? Help? Is someone calling for help? 11 p.m. So you ask her like, hey, aren't there clocks around here? Do you have like a watch or something? And she's a little suspicious of you, but she's like, fine, I'll give you one. What should you possibly need that for? Oh, I just want to walk around. You want to walk around, number 7? Her nickname for you is number 7. This has no context until way later, and it's not relevant to this stream. You want to walk around, number 7? Fine, whatever. Or she gives you a watch. She tells you about like the public areas you're allowed to go, and just leaves you alone after giving you your dosage. 11 p.m. rolls by. You go to case 01, and you hear screaming. You hear coughing. The same symptoms you had, just like there's multiple people suffering. And you're still slightly debilitated, so it's like you're stumbling as you're walking, and you just peek inside the room, and Ether is experimenting on Nikes. She has a bunch of Nikes tied up, and she's injecting them with your virus, and being like, huh. Okay, those are the side effects you have. That's how quickly the virus spreads. That's how it affects you. Oh, okay. How much do we need to inject to kill you? How much do we need to inject before you start blacking out? Can we cure you with this, and then like it like feeds one of them a drug, and like they're like shaking and trembling because the side effects are too powerful, and she's just it really feels like she's torturing these Nikkei's, because it's like she's got the evil eyes. She's kind of like it almost feels like she's enjoying this a little bit. You're horrified, and you're like, oh my god, I can't believe you're doing this. And of course you're still sick, so you cough a few times, and she's like, who was that? Ah, a rat seems to have crawled into the facility. You stumble back into your room before she catches you, and you're like, oh my god, I can't believe I saw that. Tomorrow I need to figure out a way to save them. Ether checks in on you again the next day. She tells you about how there's a rat that infiltrated the facility. She administers another drug for you. It's very helpful, as mentioned. Like every time you take the medicine, you're feeling just a little bit better. This was supposed to be an incurable disease, but it's like, okay, you're slowly getting better, and it's really helping. But you now realize there's something crazy going on. You walk by the next day comes along. The next night comes along. She leaves her room. You presume well, you know that it's because she's experimenting, but like you thought before that was to sleep. She walks over to the other room. You walk over to the other rooms. Case 005, case 04, case 03, case 02, case 01. Case 01, where you were the last night. You open the door, and it's empty. There are no Nikkeis in there. Suspicious, you just waltz right in. None of the other doors open except for case 01. You walk in, and you find a syringe with like a modified version of your virus. The supposedly incurable disease that you're suffering from right now. And you're like, oh my god, like she's seriously like infecting people intentionally for some reason. She catches you. She that was a trap. She was waiting for you. She knew you were the rat, and so she catches you. She questions you like, what are you doing sneaking around? What do you think you're doing? Why are you doing this? And then you question her. You said no. Well, she's trying to avoid the topic and like giving you just harsh treatment, instead of just like verbally abusing you. And then you're like, if you don't tell me what I want to hear, I will inject this into myself and kill myself. And then of course, like, she knows that will look bad on her. Like that's how you threaten her, is like, oh like you, if you die, that's gonna leave a mark on my resume. I really need to. Fine, I'll tell you. He's a rat, Dutch. He's a rat. I don't think I've gotten to that part. So she tells you, you are case 00. That's the room you're in. You did notice that about your own room. That was labeled case 00. You are the origin point. You are the originator of the virus. They take your blood and send it to case 01, where they inject various Nikkeis with varying amounts. A small amount for one Nikkei, a lethal amount for another Nikkei. They give a wide range of a different amount of your tainted blood to all these Nikkeis to intentionally infect them with your disease, to try to see what it does to a body, to see what it does to them mentally, to see what it does to them physically. Then they start working on the drug. They bring it to case 2, where they give you where they try to cure the disease. They try all sorts of medical procedures to try to fight the virus. They they just experiment around, and they take the most effective drug and the drug with the least um, side effects to case 3. Case 3, they tune it down, try to find the balance point of like how can we treat most of the symptoms but also ensure there's not enough side effects. And so they try to make the best balance of like effectiveness and lack of side effects. They bring into they bring that down to case 4. I forget what 5 is, to be honest. And where they start to finalize the drug, and then he eventually gets to you, back to case 0 to actually treat your illness. And then, of course, inevitably, the commander asks, "So why Nikkei's? Why are you injecting Nikkei's?" Because they're cheap. Because they were about to be disposed of anyways. If they die, they were about to be disposed of anyways. If they're cured, we can subject them to more experiments. It's is completely dark. It's completely unethical. It's completely horrible. But like, she knows what she's doing. It's like there's there. It's everything is in the path of trying to create a cure for this disease. It just takes many lives to actually perfect it in such a short time, because like obviously you have this rare disease. Like, time is of the essence. We can't worry about morals when it means saving your life right now. And that's sort of the point between all of this, except that like the commander's like, "No, fine, experiment with me instead, and then whatever you make for the cure, give it to the other Nikkeis." And she gets pissed at that, because it's like, "You're making me do so much extra work, number 7. You're causing me so much more trouble, and if you die because of this, it's gonna be a stain on my record." And just like she's so like, oh, this is, she's so angry at you. She's so like irritated by you. She's so troubled by you. And then so, fine. For this week, you will be my lab rat. And then she takes that concentrated dose of the virus, and you've been getting cured this whole time, but she decides to reinfect you. She injects some of the virus into you and brings you back to the searing pain you had right at the beginning, and she's experimenting on you. She's seeing how much you can take, pushing you to your limits of like, oh, this is how it affects your body. It's how you affects these cells. Oh, it seems like you can't hear me right now. Oh, okay, noted. It affects auditory. Oh, it affects vision. And she's just taking note of your suffering within almost sadistically. She then tests a bunch of medication on you. Some of it just doesn't seem to help at all. Some of it does help, but it has massive side effects. And then so she continues to try a bunch of different things, but sometimes the medicine and poison are two sides of the same coin. Some of it hurts you more than it helps you, and you are like the trembling you're getting from the experimental drugs, the spleen headaches, all these different symptoms that are coming up as side effects of the medicine, not just your illness, let alone that your illness is getting worse, not better sometimes. And it's torturous, and it's like, you asked for this, she's just basically everything she's saying, like in between over notes, it's like, oh, this is ineffective. This causes trembling. This one actually seems to work, but it's causing him to have migraines. She's doing all this with the underlining in a sort of through line of you asked for this, and then at the end of it, you're cured. Suddenly you're all better, or like it's like you never had the infection at all. You can walk upright. You don't have a headache at all, etc. You feel great, and the other Nikke's got cured, and or too, and you're like, so you did give the treatment to the other Nikke's. It's like, yeah, of course. You made me do a lot more work, number 7, but so at least we managed to cure you. At least we managed to find a cure to this medicine. And then, like, the commander threatens to expose her, and it's like, oh, we need to figure out a more humane way of doing this. And, like, she essentially says, like, you can try, and it's like, what would people think if people actually found out about this? Would they fight for Nikke's rights? Would they make that you put up with that suffering? Do you think the arc would agree with this level of necessary evil and just all that kind of philosophical stuff? And then at the end, when she's about to release you, let you go back home, she gives you a little piece of paper. It says P, and then P me, my little lab rat. Remember what the other one said. It said 11 p.m. case 01 hell. HEL. Oh, your mic cut out there for a second, but it came back. I did notice my computer froze for a sec. What was I trying to say? Just so I can backtrack a little bit. Man, if only they had rats so they didn't have to use Nikke's. The point is that, like, Nikke's are very, very close to humans, given that they do have human brains. They had to, like, modify the virus in order to, like, make it suitable for Nikke. Yeah. I don't remember, but you're talking about a little slip of paper. So you walk out of the MMR research facility, and she's about to let you out into the wild. Like, you are out in public right now, right outside of the building, and in the arc, and she's giving her whole spiel, and it's like, what would all these people think about the necessary evil we do? What would all these people think if they learned we had been experimenting with Nikke's? Do you think they would feel the same, or do you think they would think it's a necessary evil? And just all that kind of stuff about like the necessary evil. What even is a Nikke? So if you see the anime girl on my screen, that's a Nikke. Nikkes are a kind of android in the world of Nikke, the video game I'm talking about. And so they are androids. They are androids with very human-like bodies, and yeah, and a lot of them are expendable. Actually, like all the named ones are pretty important, but a lot of them are just nameless mobs that are like sent to die or sent to be experimented on. So are they organic? So they aren't. That's kind of the complicated thing. They do address this. But she talks about, it's like, shouldn't you be wearing a mask, Ether, right at the beginning? And she's like, no, I'm a Nikkei. I can't get infected by this. And then so, like, if it's infectious, how did Ether not contract it? They had to modify the virus to make it so it can be contracted by Nikkeis before they started doing their work. And then she has to directly inject it into the Nikkeis in order for them to catch the virus. Is Android 18 considered a Nikkei? Does Android 18 have a human brain in her body? That's the main thing with Nikkeis, is they do have human brains controlling the body. Ooh, man, imagine all the phantom pain that's a Nikkei feels. That's gotta be weird. Blowing my nose, one sec. They used to be humans. Maybe then. Maybe. Doesn't like Krillin get married to one? Yeah, I was thinking about the Dragon Ball androids as well. Yeah. That's a word makes sense. The whole description of what Ether did to Nikkei sounded to me to a lot of what they ended up doing to Cinderella. Yikes. Yeah, of which obviously Cinderella goes through a lot worse, but it's still fucked up. It's still fucked up. Yeah, like that's the thing. It's like, okay, like everything Ether does is for the benefit of mankind somehow. The issue is that like for one, like she seems to not have problems with how she understands that what she does is morally objectionable. She just doesn't care. So she is aware of the consequences. She is aware of like how fucked up it is. And then but she doesn't really care about it personally. But also she doesn't take it so far as to say like, well, I realize you think it's morally objectionable. If you want to try to stop this, be my guest. Let's see if you can. Because, like, again, she allows the commander to suffer in order to see if he can save all those Nikkei. Then she manipulate. If you read School of Lock, she's the reason why the students go on suicide missions. She also tells the commander and Marciana and everyone else that they're sending the students on suicide missions. So you should try going and saving them. Because the MMR vocational school is all about trying to get the best Nikkeis and having the cream rise at the top to find the best possible Nikkei for the situation. And some of them will have to die in order to figure out to what's going on. Oh, you should read School of Lock, and you should read when they bring back Colorless. Read Colorless. It's they do some fucked up things to the students. MMR vocational school is fucked up. If you read Naga's Bond story, you learn a little bit about the vocational school as well, and how fucked up it is. Because like, well, I mean, I guess, well, I won't spoil everything, but Naga is particularly nervous about her test, let's say. But like, they send the students on these dangerous missions because she knows is the best way to really figure out which of these Nikkeis actually have elite potential. The ones who don't survive, I definitely didn't. Some of the ones who survive just get lucky, which is why you have multiple exams. Not just you don't just survive one of the final exams, one of the midterms without. You don't just have to pass one of those tests. You have to pass several of them. And she is aware how morally fucked up this is. She is aware of how unethical all this is. I just didn't read School of Lock. School of Lock is pretty good. School of Lock gives a lot of context to Colorless as well. Gotta get it's something. Be back later. Okay. See you around, Hack Controller. Where they gain electrical signals to move their bodies. I guess they don't really explain it. They just explain that the brain controls their bodies. God, I can't imagine how Marciana feels, and that hurts even more because she's probably my favorite Nikkei. Oh yeah, that's why you should read School of Lock. You get a lot of context about like Marciana's role in all this. No, she's one of the good guys. Don't worry. Like she isn't doing much necessary evil of her own. She does some necessary evil. She's not one of the bad guys. Yeah, and then so like Ether is aware of like how unethical that is, how just like that's sacrificing lives, which is like not something that's okay by any standard. But she does it because she knows it's the most effective way to do it. However, she also knows it's so morally objectionable that the commander and Marciana and Privati and everyone will go out of their way to try to stop it. And so she just lets it happen. She's gonna be hands off. It's like my role is to observe. I'm not going to interfere if that's what you want to do. And you know, she's judging Marciana too. She's judging the commander too. It's like, okay, how good are you? How righteous are you? Do you have the power to save these students? Maybe you are one of those exceptions. Given they have detailed boob nerves, they probably have artificial nervous systems. Probably. But yeah, so that's like all of the like crazy things Ether does, and that's not even taking into account Dark Hero, I believe it was called. Yeah, Dark Hero. Dark Hero is a great story as well because it's like, okay, Electric Shock is considered a traitor. She's one of the ones who sends Maiden out to like try to apprehend and kill Eleg and Trony, and it's she just lets the commander by when they try to stop them from killing them, and it's weird. It's weird because it's like, you know, she's working for the bad guys, and she does have a villain vibe to her every time she does anything, really. But like, she never stops the hero from saving the day, which is why, and all of this is what makes her such an interesting character to me. So this is why I mean, like, she embodies just necessary evil so much. She embodies Malus Necessarium that much, and it's so cool. And I really wish she could actually get some real screen time, like not just like appearing at the end of events and like contextualizing everything. It's like, oh yeah, this was missless evil plot, but I let you get away with it and all this type of stuff. I would like to see her be the main character of an event. I would like to see her gain SSR as part of award for that event. And I just wish she would get more screen time. And with that in mind, let us make some Malus Necessarium. As you can see on her character, she has like this purple and green liquid going through her. She has like vials of this green liquid. I think that's gotta be like some experimental drug, especially if we consider like it might be an experimental drug that she actually used on us during her Bond story. I wonder if we can, oh shit. I wonder if we can make something like that. I guess she can stick around up here. That's not too intrusive, is it? Well, like, I feel like most people don't want to read an event where they have to watch the morally questionable girl do morally questionable things as if it's them. So that's probably why. It wouldn't be, though. Like, it can be a commander-centric event where it's like, okay, the commander goes to MMR. And then he, he like meets up with the ether, and then like you get a better perspective on her perspective on things, and you don't have to agree with it. The commander almost surely doesn't agree with it, but it could be an interesting interesting getting to hear it directly from her, to see it through her eyes, to like see how she really does balance the moral quandary of I know this is fucked up. I know this is unethical, but this is for the betterment of the arc. Whereas like we had that with Mana, except that like she's clearly on the side I talked about before, where it's like, okay, she knows it's morally objectionable, and she really hates that fact. Whereas like it would be interesting to see why she's so numb to it. Why is Ether so numb to it? Why does she? It's sort of like can't avoid it, might as well enjoy it, because she takes a little bit of sadistic glee in her work, in her very unethical work. She seems to enjoy hurting you. She seems to enjoy hurting all those Nikes. That being said, she's also perfectly willing to let the hero stop this nonsense. And then and like she seems satisfied that it reaches a happy end, whether it means having tortured you to make the cure, or letting the heroes do what they want, and okay, happily ever after. We didn't need all that bloodshed after all. She seems to be fine with it either way. And then so it's like it would be great to like actually understand what's going on in her head. With that, let me grab a glass. I do have a couple of ideas. Well, okay, let's think of the spirits first. I actually think one thing I want to do is I want to spritz it with absinthe. So this is an atomizer that sprays absinthe, which would be the one in this atomizer is per node. Absinthe has always been thought of as a hallucinogen, a poison. People believe that absinthe was poisonous. That's why it was banned for a while. So I think a spray of absinthe would make sense. We're not making something that's possibly actively poisonous. So I think an absinthe wash works. Do we want to lean more purple or green? She has those vials. Do you see my mouse, by the way, when I do this? She does seem to... Oh, shit. Okay. Let's drag her up and then pull down. She does seem to have these green vials, so I'm wondering if we make it base green or if we make it base purple. I actually kind of want... Okay, like... So, Empress Jin is relatively high proof. I wonder if we can do a float of Empress Jin somehow and then incorporate the green somehow. That's a little small. We can make her slightly bigger. There we go. Yeah, I think so. Base green seems to make the most sense. What if we did like... So the easy answer is Midori. I did take out the creme de violet because we could go the creme de violet route too. Yeah. The easy answer would be Midori. Shit, never mind. We don't have. Oh god, I almost wonder if I want to continue doing this episode. We don't have matcha powder. If we had matcha, that could be because matcha has like caffeine. It's a stimulant. Like maybe that could be our medical thing. Let me actually look again because I really, really want to use matcha here. Okay, we do have matcha, but the fact that it was hidden away might imply that my brother was hoping it would stay a secret. If he asks about it, I will buy him more matcha. In fact, I will buy him a lot more matcha because as like I like using matcha in cocktails actually. So actually we got there. We could make this a gin and tonic variant like we did with the Nimi cocktail. Gin and tonic is... Ooh, actually... That could be... Yeah. Because so what I did with Nimi's cocktail was I made like a lime Tom Collins, but with some Midori. Because like you know she's very green themed. She's a nurse, and like all of is like, oh, a nightmare for you is a treat for me, and like she'll eat your nightmare, she'll make you feel better, and so like this it bringing out the sweet side of that makes it good, but we can make it bitter, we can make it bitter and harsh and unpleasant, kind of like this. I should try traditional old Japanese tea in the future. I know Devin Nash really wanted to get into tea as well. Like he wanted to make his own tea brand. Give me a sec. Hopefully that didn't darken things too much, but one of the lights was flickering. Like we can make it more bitter, we can make it more stimulating, like this. So it's not so much of a like Ooh, a casual little medicine to make you to prep yourself up. No, this is gonna be like a really more intense medicine that like without like it like isn't compromising on effectiveness for to make it more pleasant to go down. Only trying it outside just compared to other teams seems like a lot of Sam needed. Like Earl Grey is just dump the tea in a pot and pour hot water. This matcha power, I feel like. Uh, this matcha power, like I would just put it directly in cocktails, just literally scoop a spoonful into like my shaker, or like I've seen my brother just pour it into like milk and then stir it. I don't think it's that complicated, but maybe maybe it depends on preparation because like other teas, like you got like other Japanese teas, you gotta steep it in a certain way and all that, and so I can see why that's why you would need to do a specific way there. Maybe it's because matcha you do directly do instead of steep, because like you literally drink this powder. You stir it directly into your liquid. It's not like a bunch of flowers that you then put in hot water and then the water leaches out the flavor, but not actually put the flowers in there. And then you toss out the flower, you strain out the flowers, and then you just drink the tea, which is just water infused with all that, with all those flowers and herbs and whatnot, tea leaves and etc. Yeah, so I'm thinking so absinthe rinse, matcha, ooh, okay, so how did Greg's Wellerman go? Okay, I think this will be another lime drink, so we're gonna do limes as well. Let's see. Whoopsie. Oh yeah. How to drink Wellerman. There once was a ship that put to sea. The name of the ship.
Once was a ship that put to sea. The name of the ship was the Bully of Tea.
Yep. So what was his build? 1 ounce of lemon juice, half an ounce of simple syrup, 2 ounces of rum. So he made a daiquiri. He made a daiquiri with an egg white and matcha powder. And then dotted it with Angostura bitters. We could put Angostura bitters. Yeah, let's do that. Let's dot it with Angostura bitters. That sounds good to me. That sounds really good to me. Well, they use a whisk and yada yada when preparing the tea, something you see in the tea ceremony. Yeah, that's it. I know there's a specific way to do it, but I do think yeah. Purple huge boobs. Man, Sleepy OA got a new outfit. God, I am so I'm at such risk of becoming a simp. I'm legit like thinking about how do I fundamentally change my lifestyle to watch her streams, because I legit was thinking about like what if I sleep early again, go to the gym after I wake up at like noon instead of like around on 5, because I work it or when the sun sets basically, and then like instead of sleeping at like 10, like somewhere between 9 to 11, what if I slept right after coming home from work at like 3? So I would get my 6 to 8 hours, waking up at like waking up around noon-ish when she streams. And then so like as long as I get to the gym in time, and then I get to the gym in time, I get to I get back, get to watch her streams, and then go to work. Like, that's the level of simping I'm at right now. It's like, can I fundamentally change my lifestyle? Which is extra complicated because I'm OMAD. Like, I would have to, like, fundamentally change how I operate my diet, too. But, like the simp in me is like, oh, that would be worth it. That would be worth it. Yeah. Okay. So I think we have a build. I think we have a build because it's not that complicated. I think we'll build it in the we'll try. If I think the egg white would help it, I'll do it. But I think we have a build. It's sounding like an up glass string. So let me grab a coupe. I think. Give me a sec. I'm realizing putting an absent rinse. Okay, let me start over. I'm realizing putting an absinthe rinse in a oh shit. Okay, whoopsie. Well, that's annoying because it's hard for me to like balance this. Ether, go away for a second. There we go. That was easy enough. Okay, what the fuck was I on about? Yeah, it's a little weird putting an absinthe wash on this because you usually put it on like a rocks glass. Not in up glass like this, but it feels appropriate to make this drink in a coupe. So I'm just gonna spray this down with absinthe. Just give it an absinthe wash. This is one of those things that it's you don't need it, but it really helps you. Like it's a I really want to make that video at some point, but I really need to brainstorm it, and I just never had time to brainstorm it. Maybe I'll start doing it next week. But this is one of those tools that you don't need, but is super helpful. Because the way you normally do an absinthe wash is you literally pour just a tiny bit of absinthe inside of your glass, and then you just you just roll it all across the glass, across the inside of the glass, so that the entire thing is moist with absinthe, and then you pour out the excess absinthe. That wastes a little bit of absinthe because in order to wash it, you do have to put a little more than you think you need, and then like pouring out the absinthe feels bad because absinthe is rather expensive. You don't waste as much absinthe at all with this because you just literally spray the inside. And then so there's always a perfect amount. Maybe like a touch more than you need, but like that's it. Just like a touch more. You will put like a few drops more than you need. I mean, don't put your health or job in jeopardy. I definitely wouldn't be putting my job in jeopardy. In fact, it might be better for my job to set up my schedule that way. because I can get to work earlier, as opposed to like sometimes I oversleep and end up hella late for work with my current schedule. The main problem with that is that I wouldn't know where to fit my workout in. I don't know when would be a good time to work out with that schedule. Because it's so much easier to work out at 3 a.m. when there's no one there. Okay, so we washed this with absinthe, so we can set it aside now. We're gonna put a spoonful of matcha, and a spoonful is not specific, but I think you do want like a heaping teaspoon. You want a heaping bar spoon, so you want a big old chunk like that. You did put lemon in it, but also... Yeah, no, I'm gonna stick with lime. So I'm going to put... Oh, Jesus. I knew I was forgetting something. I am going to put a full 1 ounce of simple syrup in this. We need something to combat the bitterness that we're gonna be imparting onto this. So 1 ounce of simple syrup. I'm gonna say 1 ounce of lime juice. Give me a second to grab a lime and cut it. There we go. I don't really measure my lime juice. I found that like limes roughly have like about like 0.75 to 1 ounce of juice in them, and then lemons have like 1 to 1.5 ounces of juice, but I just don't measure it just because it's like it feels wasteful to like half squeeze a lime. Like it doesn't make sense to me. God damn it, the light is flickering again. Give me a sec. Main spirit, main spirit. I didn't want it to be absinthe, so it can't be absinthe. I kind of don't want it to be rum. Maybe it can be gin again. Maybe it can be gin again. Like we do have the whole like gin. Maybe it can be gin again. Yeah, because it's. There really isn't any medical benefit of doing this. But there's no real medical history of using rum as far as I understand. And I want to put the bitters at the end. Ooh, if we had mints, we can make this like a julep type thing. How do I want to approach this? Give me a sec. Oh god, speaking of mint juleps, apparently there's been a lot of like horse girl content because like isn't the Kentucky Derby going on or something? And then so like there's so many like those online horse races, some IRL horse racing, and that's really helped Uma Musume pop off. That's fun. Do I want to? Maybe I could make this into a daiquiri. I'm not sure. Let's see. Yeah, how well can you see that? It's quite green already because of the matcha powder. Let's see. What else do I want to put in here? The rum sounds good, but at that point, I'm basically copying the Wellerman. I put gin. I'm kind of like hoping like, oh no, he made another gin and tonic, and like I've already made 2 gin drinks already that have popped off. I made the Nimi drink, which is a gin and Collins. I'll call it a gin and Collins because it's a Tom Collins, but instead of regular or soda water, it was tonic water. So it's kind of like a gin and tonic, but it's kind of like both a gin and tonic and a Tom Collins. And then of course the Martini Bee, the Sleepy's cocktail that I made. I'm so proud of that one. I'm genuinely like so proud of that one. That one was so good. It was so strong, but it was so good. That oh wait, I'm flowing Empress Gin on top of this. Okay. What if I double down? Ooh. Ah, shit. Okay. The necessary evil of having to make another gin drink. Was Coca-Cola used as a medicine? Would incorporating a soda work? We could, but I think that fucks up with the color too much. Because we are trying to make this green and purple. Coca-Cola is like pitch black. But it was a medicine once because it once contained cocaine. Cocaine was a medical device at once. The doctor who invented Coca-Cola wanted an easier way to deliver cocaine in like drinkable format, and also to prevent people from drinking more wine, because you know, wine is the devil. Wine is gonna make you do all sorts of crazy things. We have to curb this alcohol thing. This was like the prohibition was stepping up. We have to stop the alcohol, but cocaine is good for you. We need to make sure people are drinking cocaine. Crazy times the past. Crazy times. The history of alcohol and like drinks in general is so funny because we had all sorts of bogus science. And then the ones that were real science, like the gin and tonic, were actually like really cool too, because you actually had a good excuse to drink. We had all sorts of bad excuses to drink, but sometimes we did have good things. We have to stop alcohol. Gets people drinking something worse than alcohol. Exactly. Okay, so because we're gonna be flowing gin on top of this anyways, I want to try something else, and I think that something else might actually be vodka. Because I want it to taste of the matcha. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. My hate boner for vodka is like challenging me because I keep making drinks that actually demand some vodka. Let's see. Shit. Let's see if we can do something with this. 2 ounces of vodka. Those are some nice limes I can see in the reflection. They're spent limes, sadly. Freud was big on cocaine too. I do remember that. Like he talked about like, oh, cocaine isn't even addictive, even though it's like massively addictive. Also, when they give their children their stuff, yeah. They sold it over the counter. It's like, oh, just take these cocaine lozenges. Just let your child just like eat a cocaine lozenge for a sore throat. And it's like, oh my god, the past was the worst, man. The past, they thought some insane shit in the past, and I'm sure there's things we think now that people like 100 years from now are gonna be like, we thought about that, dude. Let's pretend I became famous one day. They really admired this guy who just drank this much for no good reason. What is wrong with him? I'm gonna fill up my shaker with ice. Be right back. Yeah, there are conspiracy theorists out there too, T. That's true. Shake with ice. Do I want the egg white after all? I don't think so, but I think it might help. We'll see. We'll see. We can make a second if we do it. I'm giving it a little bit longer shake because there's a lot of matcha powder that I want to dissolve. Take our absinthe rinse glass. Ooh, wow, this smells weird. It's because of all the matcha powder. Ooh boy. Yeah, I'm not sure we actually need the egg white because that is already like a crazy color. An egg white might have done something here, though. It would add like a foam to it that I think would have been nice. That sounds like something crazy would do in a fantasy world. That is like swamp green. Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah. And then finally, we will top with Empress Gin. And it does have to be specifically Empress Gin because it has this beautiful like purplish blue color that is important for the visual effect. It's because it's made with butterfly pea blossoms. Where's my second spoon? Yeah. Give me a sec. We need a bright green color, don't we? I don't necessarily need it to be perfect. I just want it to be roughly because I do agree. Like, yes, it is a light green and whatchamacallit, and Midori would probably fit that better, but also like I would rather it be accurate than I would rather it be like an interesting and good drink rather than it being fully 100% accurate. And let's float some gin on top. When you want to float something, you want to incorporate it slowly because otherwise it wouldn't combine together, right? And that's why I'm pouring it on the back of the spoon. How's that for a Malus Necessarium? Look at that green and purple going on there. Let me actually. That very much looks like it's going to spill. That's sort of the point. I wanted it to have a nice wash line. It looks a little more blue than purple. Yeah, this is a little more blue. So, like, that's... Especially with that green. Like, maybe that's bringing it out more. But, like... Let's see how this is. Let me actually... It looks... It looks diabolical, but it also looks pretty cool. So let me just actually... It looks a bit diabolical, but actually I kind of want to take a picture of it real fast, so give me a sec. You're gonna lose track. You're gonna lose the other camera for a bit because I want to take a picture of this. All right. If this if this doesn't end up tasting good though, we're gonna have to try again. But yeah, it honestly looks so cool that I really wanted to try it. I really needed to take a picture of it untainted first. Very, very, very gin forward, just because the gin is not mixed in. I'm not really getting the second layer yet. Maybe it's just because it's a vodka drink and I'm not really getting the flavors of the lime in the thing. It's like a weirdly, like it's like a not mixed. It's not like a well mixed gin sour right now. But let's try to get underneath it. Ooh, there is. There is. The gin and the matcha is actually like a really nice combination. Yeah, like the floral notes, the sort of like wispy, like floral herbal notes of the gin kind of like meld together with the green tea. As always, I can't taste the vodka. I feel the vodka's presence, but I can't taste it. It's like very clearly very strong, but I don't taste it. I only taste like the matcha powder, which is like how would I describe matcha? Yeah, it's like a weirdly smooth bitter. It's like a little bit like pleasantly bitter. It's like it's a like I've always thought matcha like when I make a matcha drink, it always feels like chewy, like a little granular, which is actually kind of nice. Yeah, like I don't know how to describe matcha, but it's very matcha-y. Like it's just spiked matcha because we mixed it with vodka, but like that's actually with like the both the sweetness from the actual sugar and then like the tang of the lime, and that's actually like that pairs with the matcha pretty brilliantly too. It's like super like if I'm going for something like kind of medicinal, I think I did get there. Because it's like that sort of like weird tea like mixes with this with the fruit, the lime fruitiness and like the floral elements to make that sort of like, you know how like medicine tastes off because it's like, oh, they try to make it grape flavored, they try to make it strawberry flavored, but it's like so tainted with like the actual medicinal flavors that it's like, you know, you're sipping on medicine. And then so like yeah, it's sort of like that where it's like there you get the pleasantness of like a Tom Collins, like, well, it wouldn't be a Tom Collins, it would just be a gin sour. You get like the gin sourness of it. You get like plenty of sweetness because we put a lot of sweetness in here. We put a full ounce of simple syrup in here, but it's like weirdly semi-tainted in a way, but like that was the goal. That was the goal because of the strength of the matcha to like really like wake you up. It's a stimulant. I believe it has caffeine in it, right? Doesn't matcha have caffeine? I'm not seeing that it has caffeine. I was pretty sure matcha has caffeine, but maybe I'm wrong. But it's like, yeah, like you get that like intense tea flavor because we put it directly in there, and then so like it makes it have that weird quality that that medicine has, and I think we nailed it. This was a good drink for the record. Like this actually tasted pretty good. Like I it's hard for me to go a stream without shit talking vodka, but the reason the vodka seemed to be the right choice here was I did want to emphasize the matcha elements of this. I wanted it that green part of it, that like bizarre liquid that I'm putting in my body, much like the bizarre green liquid Ether is putting in your body when she's experimenting with drugs on you, and like it's a very experimental as we like floated the gin instead of properly mixing it in there, and then like having the limes in there, which limes have had legitimate medical use before. It helps prevent scurvy, and then like, and it's less sweet than lemons. I wanted more of that bitter tanginess with a sour lemon rather with a sour lime rather than the sweetness of a lemon. Yeah. Yeah. I think that makes for a great Malus Necessarium. What do you guys think? Did I really detect the? Oh, that's actually probably what helps the medicinal thing. Is like the, yeah, because as oh man. Oh man, I forgot that we rinsed this with absinthe. That's probably where like some of the weird sweetness comes from because of the black licorice. I remember thinking of the black licorice of like the absinthe, and then like there's all sorts of other herbs in absinthe too. Let me actually like, and the thing is like gin and absinthe go perfect together. That's why the corpse survivor exists. The corpse survivor is a combination of gin and absinthe, and that's really good too. Let me just taste test my Pernod to see what I recognize from the Pernod in this drink, because I totally forgot that I put Pernod in this drink. You literally missed me actually making the drink, Hacker Troller, but it was really good. It was a really interesting drink. I think I nailed like the medicinal elements of like a weird drug that for this drink, because we floated gin on top of it. We made a matcha cocktail with like vodka and lime juice, and then we floated it Empress gin on top of it, and it was actually really interesting. It was really good. Bruh, bad timing. Sorry about that. You should be able to rewind the VOD. Yeah, let me try taste testing some of my Pernod, and just so I can like see like what I'm be missing, because I was noting things that I'm like, that shouldn't be an Empress. That shouldn't be an Empress. So let me just note this, because remember we washed this with absinthe too, which was considered poisonous at the time. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, we get like the touch of wormwood on the bomb there. We get like heavy black licorice. that's where the weird sweetness was coming from, because I was like, there's a weird sweetness that doesn't come from the sugar. That doesn't come from the sugar, doesn't come from the lime. I was like, I know there was not, there was a weird sweetness that I remember noting that didn't seem right, but it's because of the absinthe rinse. It's the black licorice flavor of the absinthe rinse. Yeah, it's very bassy. It's very like your ground floor of like a bunch of other herbs. That was like, there were some, like, I wanted to say it was herbal, but like I find Empress to be like almost purely floral. Like, let me actually taste test some Empress right now so I can think of the floral, so I can remember what it tastes like. Yeah, like floral, like really high notes, like spices and like herbs. The Pernod, the Pernod is like down here. Like, it's, you taste like herbs, you taste the wormwood, you taste like weird spicy flavors that are like very like bassy, very low. Whereas as you drink this straight out the bottle, and it's like very high note, very like, you taste a different blend of herbs and spices that hit a higher register. Like, if you were singing a song, they would be like the higher notes. Like, so this is like the Pernod, the absinthe is like the bass singer, or the, I forget the names of the baritone. I forget the names of like the octaves people sing, but it would be like a male singer with a very low voice, and then so this is where his tone registers, and this is where the flavors of the absinthe register. Whereas the Empress, like, hits a higher register. It has similar like floral, like herby notes, spicy notes, but they all hit on a higher register. They all hit like up here, as opposed to down below. Like, if we were to use my walking analogy, I was walking on like this black licorice sweetness, that these like root herbs, these roots types of flavors. Whereas like I'm getting hit with the wind pretty intensely, because we floated it on top instead of mixing it in, of like these higher note herbs. And then when we got to when we got to the matcha area, where it was just vodka and matcha, it's like, okay, I feel the wind, and then it just feels like I'm like getting down on my knees and slowly like returning to the earth, as it's like, okay, we still get some of the bassy notes, we're still getting like some of the herbal components and the spicy components of the absinthe, along with like the sort of bitter, like, I don't want to say this, but like musky notes of the matcha, like I could gain in there in the dirt with it. So it's like, just imagine like we're planting something. It's like, okay, it's a windy day, and then so you leave your house, and then it's like you get hit by a gust of wind, and that's, you're standing on the black licorice of the absinthe, and then you're getting hit with like all the herbs and spices of the gin, and then you kneel down to like start to plant your crop. Uh-oh. It said I disconnected. Am I good? It said I disconnected for a second. Let me know what you last heard. We have a connection issue. You're fine. Yeah, you didn't miss anything, did you? You're fine? You're fine? Okay, so you didn't miss anything? You got that whole, like, kneeling down in the dirt and whatnot? Let me know. so I know where to backtrack. Yeah, you got all that? Okay. Okay, yeah. So you're like kneeling down in the dirt, and then that's when the matcha flavor comes in. That sort of like bitter, like earthy flavor, as mixing with like the bottom notes of the absinthe comes in. And so it really was a really interesting drink. And then like throughout you get a little bit of the sparks of the lime. You get a little bit of like the it like as you're kneeling down in the dirt, it doesn't hurt to kneel down because it's kind of softened because of the fact that we put so much sugar in it. We put so much simple syrup in this that it wasn't like super harsh at any point. The sugar really mellowed it out because we put so much of it in. Which is actually a pretty good advice. If you're making a particularly strong, maybe a particularly abrasive drink, tend to lean more simple syrup, not less. You put less simple syrup if you really want to like let the spirits really express themselves a lot. You put more if you really want to round out the edges because of the fact that like it can be very strong. We had unmixed gin in it because it was flowing on top, not mixed into the drink. We had absinthe. We had an absinthe wash. Absinthe is always strong no matter how little you put in there. We had pure matcha because we put vodka, and so therefore all we did was spike like matcha juice. So like matcha is already a bitter, earthy flavor profile, and then we put vodka in, which while flavorless, like intensifies it because it's because it's strong. Like vodka is very strong. It's very spicy water, and then so because we have all those intense elements in this cocktail, it felt justified to put a full ounce of simple syrup, which is usually quite a lot. You almost never want to put a full ounce unless you think there's a good reason to. I think there was a good reason to. The full ounce of simple really made it so there was never an overly intense moment. Yes, the matcha can be very abrasive and bitter. Absinthe is always abrasive and strong. The unfiltered gin, because it wasn't mixed into the cocktail, like can be intense for a new palate, and it was intense even for me because it was like flowing right on top. And then so like it was pretty intense. It did have a little bit of that alcohol burn, even for me who drinks a lot and doesn't really experience alcohol burn anymore. But when I reached the sugar content of the bottom half, the vodka lime matcha mixture, it was because it had been so sweetened, it really rounded off the edges so it wasn't so harsh. And it was good. I don't think I would make this every day, mostly because like I don't really have, this isn't even my matcha. But I do like making drinks with matcha. So like I might need to grab some for myself. I'll let my brother know. And I think it matches Ether's whole deal, where it's a very experimental drink. Not many people put matcha in their cocktails. It was a very like medicinal drink. Gin with all its floralness and being unfiltered. Absinthe wash. Absinthe was once considered poison. Like limes instead of lemons, which are much more sour, but then like have been a preventative type of cure. And then like wanting to concentrate that with vodka, which is like vodka is very powerful. Just like for everything I said, like your vodka is still a base spirit for a good reason. It's very powerful. And then so like even though it doesn't impart any of its own flavors, it emphasizes other flavors. And then so that's I think we did make a pretty interesting drink. It was good too. Like if I were to give it like the F through S tier scale, this is easily an A. It's so interesting and also super good. It's not quite so like, oh, this would be a regular rotation drink, but this was really fire. So that was fun. And I got to yap about my favorite character. Oh, not my favorite character. One of my favorite characters in Nikkei. So hopefully you enjoyed that. I spent like a good half hour or something just like yapping about Ether from Test. I see you, Chibidi. Did something of yours get shadow banned? I know whatchamacallit. I know YouTube can sometimes be a little draconic with what chat messages they censor. I wonder how I can turn that off actually, because I remember Miori. Definitely Miori. I think Sleepy Project as well, before she joined FaZe. Like, I remember watching some of her YouTube streams. Even if you say like like you can't say cuss words on YouTube. You can't say like certain like controversial stuff on YouTube. It has an auto filter, whereas like on Twitch, it's like it depends on where your auto mod is set, but like you can make it less stringent. I do remember though that Miori and I think Sleepy Project, before she joined FaZe like 2 years ago, I think Miori and Sleepy Project had their chat set where they can uncensor certain messages that don't get through. Like Miori had a funny little story where she was she talked about she was joking about some stuff, and then it was like we invoked that like don't bully me, Alkum. And then like I think someone said that, and then it was censored in the YouTube chat, but then she reinstated it because it was like it was a harmless joke. So yeah. You probably have it on top chat, changes it to live chat. Ah, okay. Well, the issue is I don't think my chat program does that. I can probably do it for regular. I wasn't sure if I was shadow banned or bad timing, but I said a couple things, yeah. Oh, I probably missed them, Chibidi. My bad. I know you said a few things, but I totally forgot to read them. That's my bad. Let me actually scroll back, because I think I'm done here. I do think, like, let's actually, like, try concluding these. I'm so bad at conclusions, man. Well, I did. Like, I was talking about, I was like, yeah, the floats and all this, it was so intense, but it was actually so good. It was an A-tier drink. Yeah, and that would be the Malus Necessarium. Thank you for watching, like, comment, and subscribe, whatever. I'll get better at doing in outros. I was actually, like I was running in one of my videos through my editors the other day. I really should take the time at some point to just do all the cringe. Like, there's no good way to do it. Like, it always feels cringe. It's like, oh, like, comment, and subscribe. But like, I know I have to do it at some point, so at some point I'll do it. And like, honestly, I genuinely appreciate that you guys watch me at all. So it's like it really does help to see like more people subscribe, hit the like button, because it does help. Like, that interaction does help. Like, watch time is the most important thing. The fact that you guys check, just stay in chat for so long is super nice. But then, like, when you comment, when you hit like, when you do all these things, it actually does, it really does matter. Freud was big on cocaine too. The most recent weird history thing I learned was about Bugonia, the ritual sacrifice of a cow and the belief that the corpse generated beat. What? How are those things related? I mean, corpses attract flies, but not bees. What the fuck? It's easier to look up the Wikipedia article. The fantasy world line was in response to what that wrote. Oh, that sounds like something crazy people do in the fantasy world. Right, that's what he was saying. Okay. All this remind me of a dream to someday attempt to recreate Izumi's Choco Burger in Blue Archive, but like actually good and edible and yummy. Yeah, like messing with cocktails is like a weird science, man. Like I don't refer to my own. I don't refer to this as my bar. I refer to this as my lab because I always fuck around with ingredients all the time. It's fun. Like it's fun to be able to like move your hands and just see what cocktail comes to mind. That's why I like doing these experimental streams where I'm not really trying to actually I'm like follow a recipe. I'm letting my hands move and do whatever I want. That's why I love doing like the like this stream. I think we did a few weeks ago with a Zeal stream, Zeal Ginjoka. That was a fully experimental stream too, where we were just like, let's mess around with different into builds and see what sticks, or like, yeah. And I want to do more of this kind of content where it's like instead of being super planned like my other stuff, like or what happens if you make an old fashioned with something other than whiskey? What happens when you make a mule with something other than vodka? Like those are fun and all, but those are pretty scripted, as you could tell. This is completely unscripted. We are totally like just experimenting and stuff. I'm thinking on the fly on how to do it, and like that's why I'm doing anyways. When I'm like, trying to think of a drink for Nimmy Nightmare, trying to think of a drink for Sleepy Project, trying to think of a drink for or Ether from Nikkei. Like this is why I'm doing all alone with no one to impress. Doing it on stream is fun because you guys can actually see my process, see my thought process of like, okay, so we're trying to make a medicine because Ether is like a mad scientist. What if we use a wash of absinthe? And then like I do take inspiration from other cocktails. So it's like, actually, when I think about it, this is like the Wellerman. Let's look up how to drink Wellerman and riff off of that. And so I looked up his video. I would often look up, say, sorry, need this. I would often look up other cocktails to do it. Like when I thought of Aru's cocktail, I looked up opera drinks. Okay, sorry. I totally forgot to add Angostura bitters, by the way. Oh right, another bit of weird history. Medieval people thought that lion cubs were born dead until revived from their father. Why would they think that? What the fuck? Okay, YouTube wasn't showing some messages the other day, and after I changed that, I saw everything. This video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. I guarantee you, the moment I say that, you will get an ad for it. Fucking the YouTube algorithm is so advanced. There's one YouTuber I really like. He hates Raid Shadow Legends. He memes on it all the time. The issue is, so if you don't have ad block and he promotes ad blockers, well, he doesn't promote ad blockers, but it's like he doesn't mind if you ad block, especially on that channel. He really doesn't give a fuck. He has mentioned that after rewatching one of his videos, he made a joke about Raid Shadow Legends, and literally the second he said that, YouTube cut to an ad to Raid Shadow Legends. It's so advanced. It's so advanced. It's literally listening to you. Google vulture bees. or don't. Oh god. Oh god. No, I'm not going to do that. The bar lab or the lab bar. Bar lab sounds good to me. Bar lab sounds good to me. Improvising, yeah, yeah. Too bad I can't taste it. Well, that's why I share the recipe online, and hopefully you can taste it. I honestly like. Okay, so at Off Kai, they bring there's so many people who host parties and they allow you to do it, and like you can even serve alcohol. You literally cannot sell it is the thing. It needs to be free. It needs to be free. It needs to be well like guarded, because like if they catch you giving alcohol to people who are underage, they will try to arrest all of you. But like as long as you can keep a nice control party, try not to get any noise complaints, whatever, you can serve for cocktails. I want to try opening an off-kai speakeasy one day and like actually serve good cocktails, because everyone's doing like the basic level shit. They're doing like espresso martinis. They're doing espresso martinis. They're doing white Russians. They're doing old fashions. And like, here's the thing. I love all those drinks. Like, sometimes you want a basic bitch drink. Like, there's nothing wrong with a basic drink. I know it's twofold. One, like, it's cheap. Like, you don't actually want to bring your good bottles in case someone steals them or breaks them, or like, it's going to be an expensive endeavor giving away all that booze for free. So I understand from a cheap perspective. And second, like, first of all, I don't doubt that there's plenty of good mixologists in the VTuber space. But also, like, if you're not a particularly well-versed mixologist, like, I can understand, like, you don't really need to make super fancy drinks to impress anyone. That being said, I want to impress people. I'm a dirty clout chaser. I am a dirty, like, I am a complete attention whore. I really want to actually serve people my drinks. I want to serve people like these good drinks that I've invented over the years. And then so I really want to open my own speakeasy at Off Kai one day, so that I can like actually serve these drinks to people, because I do think they're really good, and I would love for people to try these, to really have these. And that's why I do these streams. This is why I'm a VTuber to begin with, is I want people to learn how to make their own awesome drinks. Feels like you need to learn some party tricks like Japanese bartender videos. Yeah, I mean, like, even without the Japanese bartender videos, because like Japanese bartenders are intense, man. they have min-maxed the shit out of bartending in terms of both science and art. They're like, oh, you need to make sure you stir it exactly 12 times with this length of a ice spear, and it has to be this kind of whiskey, and like, it's so precise, it's so exact. But then also, it's very much an art form in that it's like, okay, they do this and that to make it like really fancy and really good looking. And the weirdest thing is that it does matter. Like, if you do a highball is one of the easiest drinks you can possibly make. It's literally whiskey, ice, and soda water. But because they're so meticulous about the shape of the ice sphere, because they're so meticulous about like the amount you stir it does turn out way better somehow. But yeah, like, more science or art, I think mixology as modern alchemy. Yeah, that's a way to put it. That's certainly a way to put it. There's so much science to mixology, like what we did with this drink. It's like, in order to flow it, you have to know that like you can only float something that has a higher alcohol content. I know if I mix fruit juice and sugar into the vodka, it would reduce its alcohol content because it's being diluted by all that, and therefore the Empress Gin should be able to stand on top of it. And then also it's an art in that, like, like it's really cool to create a purple martini where like I use Empress gin, and then like I try to make sure it's like properly diluted to make it the perfect shade of purple, and then like stir it in with some Lillet Blanc because that would make it more accessible. And then making that for Sleepy Project, to like the more I talk about her, the more I genuinely wonder if she's taking over Petra as my Oshi. I swear to God, I'm like, I promise I didn't do that on purpose. But now that I'm thinking about Sleepy again, I'm like, holy shit. I'm so proud of her. I'm like crushing on her so hard. I literally can't lie about that. It's so hard for me to like deny that I'm like super hardcore crushing on her right now. Don't tell her. I'll be like deeply embarrassed. But yeah, mixology is fun. I really want to be able to serve these drinks IRL because, as like Poke said, like the worst part is like I can't actually give these to you guys. I can't like reach through the screen and have this appear on your desk because I wish you guys could drink while I'm drinking. I genuinely like all these drinks and they are unique experiences, and I think like you would enjoy them as much as I do, and it's nice. So yeah. I have to mentally restrain myself from constantly talking about Clara, so maybe more of a bartender conversion of sorts. Yeah, I would have to be a better bartender if I ever opened an off-Kai speakeasy. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not good with people. I'm so socially awkward. I'm so camera shy. How do I stream? I'm so camera shy. But god damn it, the light's flickering again. Hold on. Yeah, I would have to learn how to be better bartender. I really need to watch the show Bartender because I know that's something Zao Music VT. I hate that I keep messing that up. Zao Music YT, one of my favorite VTubers. He's I don't think he's streamed for a while, but he's still doing work for other VTubers. It's awesome to see. I think he helped out with a cover where he played some sax for a different VTuber. It's so awesome. Anyways, he he's super into bartending as an art, just not just the mixology part like you see me do on stream making the drinks, but like reading your customer, like, oh, she seems to be having a bad day, do you remember what they'd like to order on a bad day, or like, do you know of any comfort drinks, and make sure you serve that to them, or like if you have a regular that can't stop talking, like how do you gently let them off the hook so that you can tend to other customers and whatnot. And then so like it's Bartender is like an anime that's strictly about like the art of bartending specifically, like not just the mixing of drinks, but like dealing with customers the way a bartender would, like the etiquette, the poise, the sort of like charisma of a bartender. And that's why you see a lot of VTuber bartenders who don't actually make drinks, because like a bartender is more of a state of mind than it is a skill. I mean, it is a skill, like talking to people, being charismatic is a skill, but like it's not like, oh, you make drinks and like whatnot. So you don't necessarily need to do that. Like a lot of, I think like one of the Hollow Stars and then also a big indie are bartenders in terms of like their lore and their character, but they don't actually bartend, like they don't actually like make drinks. But like like they certainly have the charisma of a bartender, and that's the important thing. That's why I specifically refer to myself as a mixologist and not a bartender, because I'm not really good at the social stuff the way a bartender is. I'm good. I'd like to think I'm confident in myself at making drinks, so I do consider myself a good mixologist. Fucking this light, man. uh, I do consider myself a good mixologist. I don't think I'm a good bartender. Yeah, whenever I see Shibidi Chair VTuber stuff, it's usually Clara. Yeah, he's a huge Clara fan. If he's not here, I assume it's because Clara is streaming. Here are events of mixologies competing with their drinks. Maybe you can go with one of those. I saw someone on VGen doing drinks. Oh, interesting. Like, it'll create drinks inspired by characters. Maybe you can do that too. Like, people want a drink inspired by their waifu. You can do that for money as extra income. I could try that. The issue is, like, I want to be proud of my work. I only do something if I'm inspired by it. Like, I do want to, like, it would be great for my clout if I can make a Mari Mari cocktail or a Cleo cocktail. The issue is, like, I've never watched them. I don't think I could properly do Mari Mari. I don't think I could properly do Mari Mari or Cleo justice. I might actually love their streams if I actually start watching them, but I've never watched them, and so I don't think I can do a proper cocktail for them. I've watched plenty of Sleepy Project before she joined FaZe. I know what she's like. I know what I think would impress her. And so it's like, I was very easily inspired to make something for her. I was pretty easily inspired to make something for Nimi just because, like, I have all this fun knowledge about, like, oh, cocktails that were once medicine, which is a YouTube episode I really want to try doing at one point. But it's like, yeah, I can't just do it willy-nilly because ultimately I might do a bunch of lazy stuff. It's like, oh, the character's green, I can make a Midori sour. Oh, the character's blue, I can make like an Empress. I can make something with Empress. This VTuber speaks Spanish. Oh, maybe I can make them a tequila drink. Like, there's like I feel like I wouldn't properly be able to, like, make a good drink for them. So it's like, I don't want to I know for a fact that I would end up defaulting just like a million sours, and instead of just making like a different sour or different characters, I would rather make a sour episode where I teach you how to make a sour so you can make your own. Because the sour, you might have heard me refer to it this stream even about, like, oh, this is like a gin sour. Like, the sour formula is such a versatile formula because at its base level it's just 3 ingredients, and then you can overcomplicate however you want to make it even more advanced. And that's how you make like a unique cocktail, is like, if you follow the sour formula, if you follow the last word formula, if you follow the old-fashioned formula, which we did, like you can make unique drinks just by following a formula and like replacing some of the elements with something similar, and you will get wildly different drinks because of the fact that like every spirit is very different. But it's also like, the art of mixology is very simple, honestly. Like, anyone can become a mixologist. What makes you a really good one is like knowing when to break the rules properly. I mean, if it's from Mexico, yeah, but if it's from someone's the same, you can use Orujo, for example. I guess, yeah. I mean, like, yes, there's plenty of ways to make it unique enough for other people, but I don't want to make it so shallow, you know what I'm saying? And then so, like, I really want to make sure it's actually meaningful, as opposed to like, oh yeah, we'll make a sour variant that's for this character. We'll make a sour variant for that VTuber. We'll make an old-fashioned variant for that VTuber. Like, it's... One sec again. It's like when I made this ether cocktail, I was specifically trying to go for like a medicinal cocktail. Same with the Nimi Nightmare cocktail. I really wanted to make sure it was very medicinal like. For the Sleepy Project one, like it was a basic martini, but it was like twisted so that instead of being for James Bond, it was for it. First of all, it was not just it was specifically the James Bond martini, but then twisted to make it about Sleepy. The mint fun the mint Fantome cocktail was a mostly unique concoction, but it still follows the Corpse Reviver formula in a sense. It certainly deviated pretty far from a Corpse Reviver, but it's still like an adjusted Corpse Reviver. And so like I really like when I make drinks, there is like a clear intent. It would be a spark. Like I would know right away like what direction I want to take it in when I make something for a VTuber. Like there's gonna be a specific ingredient I think would be perfect for them. There's going to be a specific liqueur I think would be perfect for them. There is a specific direction I think it would be perfect for them. And like that's why I can't just randomly do it for like, oh, I really like Sparkle from Honkai Star Rail. Could you make a Sparkle cocktail? I know nothing about Sparkle and I don't really care about them, frankly. And then so like I can't make a proper cocktail on it. I can certainly make a drink that looks like her. Like, oh, I can put like red wine and like some other stuff to make it red like her, but I can't really like truly make it inspired by her where I can explain in detail why I would make it this way. Like the Nimi cocktail, I can explain in detail why I make it like that. The mint cocktail, I can explain in detail why I did this and that to really make it unique. Because like my more popular mint cocktail is basically just a grasshopper. I put creme de menthe, heavy cream, creme de cacao, shook it up, and then served it in a chocolate rimmed glass. That is a grasshopper. That is a industry standard grasshopper. The thing that makes it unique to mint is the chocolate rim, because if you look on her model, there is her thigh highs sometimes like bleed chocolate. Because like, you know, she's a maid and she's a maid and she's like serving you and she's sweet and whatnot. And so like there's always gonna be like some hidden detail, some close detail I want to put in, like the fact that Nimi's a nurse. And that's why it's so medical based, and like explaining that every ingredient was involved in medicine in some way, or like once again, and Sleepy is an agent of phase, and so therefore I made her the James Bond martini because, you know, agent, all that. Like I really want to have like that personal touch to my cocktails, even for something basic like the martini for Sleepy, like the grasshopper for mint, because it actually feels personalized as opposed to like, oh, just make a gin sour, but instead it's blue because it has Empress in it and the character's blue. Oh, just make a margarita, but use blue curacao instead to make it blue because the VTuber is or speaks Spanish. It's like I don't want to be that shallow. I want it to be meaningful when I make a cocktail for someone. Actually, I've been thinking about using the remaining of my mint liqueur and made a grasshopper as one of my first ideas. Grasshoppers are great. Grasshoppers are so good. They just taste like melted mint chocolate ice cream that's spiked. It's so good. Let me roll back real fast. Clara's been on vacation for about a week. Oh man. Hopefully she's doing all right. Hopefully it was it planned, or is she okay? Or I promise I won't cry too much. So if you don't want to talk about it, that's okay. Cocktails that were medicine. So gin episode again. Yeah. Well, so we could do a mint julep. I think so. Juleps were a type of medicine, if I recall, and then someone made the mint julep as a joke because it's not really medical, but it's like people joke that it was medical. So a mint julep could do that, and that's a whiskey drink, so it wouldn't be another gin thing. Angostura bitters were also Angostura bitters were also considered medicinal as a tongue-in-cheek way. Limes were genuinely medical. Gin and tonics were technically medical. So like, yeah, there's plenty of ways we can do that. And yes, it would involve gin again, but it is wide ranging enough that it's okay. Because with the limes, we can make a daiquiri. Because like grog was basically a watered down daiquiri. So I think that would be expensive enough to be its own episode. It wouldn't just be another gin episode. Grabbing inspiration specifically where they're from could be make things simpler. Yeah, but I explained it. She's a ghost, chocolate ectoplasm. Right, that was how it worked. Yeah, but it's not mint cream, though I can take the mint cream from this liqueur recipe. Oh yeah, like peppermint schnapps is different from peppermint liqueur. I really need to use my peppermint schnapps somehow. I want to use peppermint schnapps though. It sounds good. I think I taste tested it a little bit. I don't remember how it tastes because it's been so long, but I know I want to use it. I know a really easy drink is just hot chocolate and then spike it with peppermint schnapps. And you have what is that called again? But yeah, that's a good drink. Once again, it's simple, uncomplicated, but not every drink has to be. So like a peppermint patty would actually be pretty nice. Spiked hot chocolate? Chocolate mint? Hell yeah. Yeah, there's actually multiple ways you can spike your hot chocolate. Like the Irish whiskey is basically just spiked coffee. You put Irish whiskey in your coffee. That's basically it. With some whipped cream. A peppermint pie is like hot cocoa, and then you spike it with a peppermint patty and with peppermint schnapps and some creme de menthe. Yeah. Anyways, we're way off topic. I'm pretty sure I concluded the episodes pretty well. Man. This was fun. I genuinely didn't think I would be able to make a good episode about this, but we actually ended up doing a pretty good job, I think. Hopefully you enjoyed it as much as I did. Whoa, what am I doing? The perfect blend of both my hobbies. Oh, you're a barista too? I know like some people are like there's a lot of overlap between like people who like bar content and people who like coffee content. So that's awesome. I do think I'm gonna end stream now. Like I really need to drink some water. And my nose is super runny. I probably should lie down for a bit. Yeah, you told me in another stream. Okay, yeah. I do think I remember that. You and Poke were going off on that. You're into coffee? Yeah. Yeah. yeah, that's gonna be it from me today. I don't really know what else to do. We've been yapping for a while, but I should like lie down a bit because I'm just super tired, honestly. Super ill. Like I need to lie down for a bit, try to recover. But this was fun. I'm glad I got to make an awesome drink for one of my favorite characters in Nikkei. I'm glad you guys seem to enjoy it too. Coffee is a bit cheaper than mixology. Yeah, for sure. All these bottles cost like $20. It adds up so fast. Um, I wanted to game last week. I told you, like, roast me if I don't end up playing tomorrow. But I don't think I can stream on Tuesdays after all because I think it bothers my family too much. I'll see. I'll see what happens tomorrow. But, like, I don't think I can stream tomorrow. I want to still, but I don't think it's going to be possible. I'll figure something out. In terms of mixology, I don't know what I want to do next week. Honestly, if nothing else, we can do a just chatting stream. Like that's never a bad thing. So we can do that. Yeah. Can I brag more about the sleepy cocktail I made? I just want to talk about that more just because it's like I'm so proud of myself. I can't believe that went so viral. I didn't think it would go as viral as it did, but it's literally my most liked tweet and still gained likes. Even more than the Nimi cocktail. And am I allowed to feel proud of myself for that? Because I'm proud of myself for that. That feels awesome to do. Not least of which because like I ended up falling so much in love with Sleepy. Okay. No, I'm talking too much. It seems like you're rather sober tonight. I only had one drink. Well, two drinks. I did pregame a little bit. I pre-gamed. When I went to the restaurant to eat, I also had a beer, but like I only had one drink, so it was a really strong drink, but I only had one drink. We didn't have to experiment that much. Yeah. Any final thoughts? Honestly, like this is how far gone I am. It's like I'm almost at the point of not caring how well my streams do, as long as like Sleepy ends up doing well. I've gone super far. I need to I just need to rest. I need to stop. I'm either gonna just like go on some weird existential like rant again, or I'm gonna sim to Sleepy, or I'm gonna sound like a narcissist for making such a popular drink for Sleepy, which will then lead to more Sleepy simping. I need to stop streaming. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for listening to all this spiel about Ether. Thank you for for watching me experiment with this drink that turned out really cool. This honestly was like one of the coolest drinks I've made in recent memory. Thank you for putting up with my sleepy simping. And I'll see you guys next week. If I can see you tomorrow, that would be cool, but that's unlikely. So, thank you.